Are we witnessing an all-out war between the executive and the judiciary? We are asking this question because the Vice President of India, Jagdeep Dhankhar, has sent out a strong message to the Indian courts. The Vice President has claimed that judges these days are acting as a super parliament, whereas the reality is that the law does not apply to them. He also goes on to say that Article 142 of the Constitution has become a nuclear missile of sorts. Strong words there. Then he also adds that as it is available to the judiciary 24/7. The Vice President goes on to say that courts cannot issue directions to the President of India. Remember, the specific comment from the Vice President comes just days after the Supreme Court heard a petition against the Tamil Nadu governor's decision to, in fact, reverse 10 bills. Not only did the Supreme Court declare the governor's actions illegal and erroneous, it actually prescribed that the President of the country should decide within 3 months on such bills, and in case of any delay, the reasons would have to be recorded and conveyed to the state. Just days after this order, the Vice President says that the Supreme Court is not really in a position to direct the President. The Vice President further slammed the Supreme Court by saying that it chose to lean on the Constitution to use its powers to direct the Union's President, but the same Supreme Court adopted a path and procedure not laid down in the Constitution when it came to the alleged case of recovery of cash from a sitting High Court judge's official bungalow. The last time the nation witnessed a judiciary versus legislature clash was over the NJAC bill in the year 2014 when the Parliament passed it, only for it to be struck down by the Supreme Court as unconstitutional. Now, is this now possibly the most heated up flare-up between the executive and the judiciary since then? Listen in to the reactions.
We cannot have a situation where you direct President of India. And on what basis? The only right you have under the Constitution is to interpret the Constitution under Article 145(3). Article 142 has become a nuclear missile against democratic forces. Available to judiciary 24/7 in New Delhi, at the residence of a judge for 7 days. No one knew about it. We have to ask questions to ourselves. Is the delay explainable? Condonable? Does it not raise certain fundamental questions?
Now we have breaking news coming in after the Vice President's Super Parliament attack. Now there are also more voices coming in. Is this a fresh, flashpoint between the judiciary and the executive? Because in a Mega Times Now exclusive, while speaking to senior executive editor Justin Kurian Joseph has backed Supreme Court, saying that there is nothing wrong in the Supreme Court setting a deadline for the President. Take a listen to that exclusive conversation.
There's a lot of controversy over the Supreme Court in Tamil Nadu case recently, prescribing a time limit for President to decide on bills, and if withholding or rejecting give specific reasons. Is it judicial overreach? Because Constitution Article 201 doesn't say so, but if Supreme Court introduces it, it amounts to legislating, which is the domain of the Parliament. So this is one of the issues which will be confronting you.
No, see, there is another angle on which one should look into it. See, any constitutional functionary, because Constitution is supreme, if any constitutional functionary does not function in accordance with the Constitution, how that functionary should function is for the Supreme Court to say. So I don't find anything wrong in the Supreme Court having said that in reminding the constitutional functionaries that this is the way you have to function in accordance with the constitutional scheme of duties cast on you. It's not a power, it's a duty. So therefore, Supreme Court is right, according to me, in reminding the constitutional functionaries the way they should act on their duties cast on them under the Constitution.
But perhaps this is the first time Supreme Court is laying down some time limit for the president. So there is some controversy.
Yeah, precisely as I stated earlier, no, this is an organic document, constitution. So whenever such challenges come, the Supreme Court gets an opportunity to look into those challenges or concerns, and then then issue appropriate guidelines or lay down the correct principles on which the constitutional functionaries should function in terms of the duties cast on them, or in terms of their jurisdiction, not their power. Sometimes people always misunderstand this power and jurisdiction. It's not their power, it's actually their jurisdiction, which is actually a duty.
My colleague Rishabh is joining us live. Strong comments that are coming in from the Vice President. We are witnessing a fresh flashpoint of sorts, as many would call it, between the judiciary and the executive in the back of many cases that are now being spoken about, that have become the national headlines. But Rishabh, also tell us about how is the government looking at these developments?
Well, Sagarika, definitely. As you mentioned, the last flashpoint between the central government and judiciary was the NJAC in 2014, where even after being passed by the Parliament, the Supreme Court struck it down. Till date, government has not, decided to review it or bring in another law to it. Vice President, for that matter, has been a strong advocate of NJAC. Even after Justice Verma episode, there was a meeting in the Parliament House where the leaders from across the party line were present, and it was a Vice President who put forward that is it the time for NJAC to be rediscussed. Or in Rajya Sabha also he has said so. Now, when it comes to this order which has come in, RN Ravi, the governor of Tamil Nadu versus government of Tamil Nadu case, where a deadline has been fixed for President of 3 months to decide on a bill, and if taken longer, they will the president will have to give reasoning to it. Government as of now is not very clear. So certain senior leadership within the government believe that there should be an ordinance against this bill, against this order, given that the House is not in session right now. Many believe that there could be a review petition as well. As of now, we are still waiting for the government to take a step, but it could be either ordinance or a review petition. As of now, it is not clear. The leadership is mulling over how to go forward, because also, Sagarika, if we see, taking judiciary completely head-on will not even serve the purpose of the government.
Right.
There are a number of cases that right now is lined up in front of the Supreme Court.
Right.
And
we'll talk about that, Rishabh. We'll talk about that aspect as well, but do stay with us, because it's the opposition also that is now striking back, and it is going on to say that the Supreme Court's job is to rein in anyone who's crossing the limit.
Judiciary cannot teach any lesson to the Parliament or to the President. But more than that, if anybody, whether it is Parliament or President of India, they cross their limits, then Supreme Court can issue a direction to them. That is the reason if we have passed any law in the Parliament or in assemblies, and we feel that it is against the fundamental right of Constitution, it is against the basic rights of Constitution, then we knock the door of Supreme Court.
Now, Rishabh, you heard what Congress's Rashid Alvi has to say. Here it is the opposition which is saying that why should there anyone, raise questions or point a finger when the Supreme Court tries to rein in someone who is crossing the line? Clearly, a counter view with regards to what the Vice President has said. You were telling us about the reasoning behind the government stand on the entire matter. Take us through the latest.
Well, Sagarika, if we talk about these political voices that are coming in, these political voices change as per the judgment that comes in from the apex court. We have heard exactly opposite, contrasting views coming in from the Congress party, or for that matter, Rashid Alvi himself, when the Article 370's constitutional validity was, upholded by the apex court. We heard a very contrasting view from the Congress leaders when, things like not be interfering in various matters of parliament was decided by Supreme Court. Here now there is a statement which there is an order which supports the narrative that is being built by the opposition on Waqf, and hence things the way the reactions are coming in. Rashid Alvi's statement right now is coming in pretext of the last evening's order that has come in from interim order, for that matter, that has come in from Supreme Court, which has put a status quo on all Waqf properties till the next hearing on 5th of May, and have asked the central government to file a reply within 7 days on the petitions. So, politically speaking, things will change from here on. If on 5th of April the interim order is revoked and a different order is dictated, the reactions will change there on as well. The social media also will react differently. But having said that, when it comes to the reasonings, why government is not taking things head on right now, and why government is not seen very aggressive?
We have BJP's Tom Vadakkan joining us. Good morning, Mr. Vadakkan. Very strong comments coming in from the Vice President. He's weighed in on what has been happening. He's made remarks about the judiciary, the super parliament comment that is coming in from the Vice President. How do you weigh in on this? What are your observations with regards to what the Vice President has said?
Well, the Vice President is spot on issues that he has raised. In public domain, he has raised questions with the judiciary. He needs to clarify. The judiciary is selected. Members of parliament are elected. There is a variant between the two. Under circumstances, an overreach is not something that will help in coming to a decision. There has to be a balance. If there are timelines set by the judiciary to the President of India and governors, some explanation is due. The judiciary cannot set targets or timeline for President of India. There is a consultation process to be sought.
Right.
And if a decision is to be taken, it is to be taken with consultation. The Supreme Court, in its wisdom, must revisit this remarks that they have made. And this disturbs the balance.
Mr. Vadakkan, what is the way forward? Because many would say that are we now going to witness something that could be termed as or touted as a confrontation between the judiciary and the executive?
If any of the bodies exceed their limit, there are bound to be red flags. Call it confrontation, call it course correction, or let them examine their conscience before there is any confrontation on this issue. Both sides are full of wisdom. One is the people's representative and one is the judiciary. Judiciary is known to be judicial on issues, and the parliament are lawmakers. So lawmakers have an advantage of changing laws, bringing in new reforms. The judiciary must see that in that light.
Thank you, Mr. Vadakkan, for joining in this morning. So the comments of the Vice President with regards to whatever we've been witnessing over the last few days, be it a Supreme Court judgment or the scandal involving the Delhi High Court judge, and now the remarks by the Vice President, is it a wake-up call for the judiciary? What is the way forward? Consultation or confrontation? That's the larger question that many are asking. Let's also shift our focus now to